Hey guys, this is Shelby with the Rogers Public Library. So this week for Makerspace at your place, I want to ask you a question, which is how come that water is clear and ice is clear, but snow is white, right? So they're all the same thing. They're all water. It's just different forms, right? And actually, these are the same forms, right? So these are solid water or ice. But the difference between the two has to do with how they freeze, right? So snow is made out of very, very tiny ice crystals, right? And water is transparent, right? Light goes through water, but it doesn't go through crystals because the crystals have a reflective surface. And the smaller the crystals are, the more surfaces there are, and the more light gets reflected instead of going through, right? So we can actually see this, right? So light goes through this really well, goes through this kind of well, but we can still see some scattering reflection due to the irregular surface of the crystals, right? There's not a regular geometric pattern. It's all random. And then as for this, light doesn't really go through at all, right? We can see it a little bit at the top, but not much. So that's kind of interesting, right? And it is worth pointing out that not all light or not all ice is as clear as this is, right? So this is made with an ice maker, and so it's a lot clearer than what you would get just from your freezer, where that can kind of be cloudy, right? And that happens because irregularities in the ice structure, usually caused by impurities, like so gases like oxygen that are trapped in the water, as well as other like ions, so like calcium or magnesium that just naturally occurs in our water sources that are healthy for us to have, right? So that's cool. And of course, you can do all sorts of stuff with ice, right? You can play with it. You can make snowballs. You can make ice capsules, but it does melt. You can put it in your freezer and keep it even when it warms up, like it's going to this weekend, hopefully. But when you get it out, it's going to melt over time. So it's not permanent. But for the craft I'm going to show you, we're going to be making artificial snow, fake snow. So I've measured out about a cup and a half of cornstarch, just regular cornstarch. You can also use baking soda for this if you don't have cornstarch, but that tends to be more expensive. So this is just a cheaper option, right? So a cup and a half of cornstarch, and we're going to measure out half of a cup of conditioner, right? So for this step, two things to note. You can also use lotion, and you can also add things like scents and whatnot if you want it to smell good. This is coconuts in it, I believe, or I guess not. It's just regular. Um, and you mix it together. You can also use lotion. You can also add scents, and you can add glitter as well. All right, so there we go. Artificial snow. It feels pretty similar to the real thing, right? It's got this same gooey structure, um, but of course it's warm, right? Because it's not, ice is under 30 degrees Fahrenheit, but this is just room temperature. So you can make snowballs with this, or snowmen even, and it won't melt like snow does, but it can dry out, so you'll want to store it in a Ziploc bag or something, airtight, so it'll keep for longer. But that's the craft that we have for you guys this week. I hope you liked it. I'll see ya.